So I just bought a 2007 Mercury Mariner hybrid, and kind of freaking out. Bought it, 2 days ago, and it's electronic EV mode. Trying to figure a good way to describe this. So the way the vehicle runs is you got a gas operated engine, and then you've got a electric battery pack in the trunk. You've got a cooling system on an electric battery pack, and when you're under 25 miles per hour on the first generation of these hybrids, and this applies to the Mariner and the Escape and the hybrids in the first generation, all of them have these filters. But I quizzed the guy. I'm like, did you change this intake filter and change the oil and do all these things, right? And the last question is like, did you change the filter on the cooling system for the fans? Because I've been looking at all the problems people have with these things. And he's like, well, no, but it should be okay. You can check it. And so I just assumed it should be okay. So the problem I've had is this truck would not, the engine's supposed to shut off and go into electric only mode, right? Under 25 miles per hour, but it hasn't been doing that. The engine's been running continuously, and I'm only getting like 24 miles a gallon instead of like 30. And I'm racking my brain. I got no codes coming up on the system, and I'm going, what the hell? I know there's a couple recalls. I believe there was a recall on the coolant pump for the battery system, and there's a recall on the fans themselves, but dealer did a recall search and said that there was no recalls on the vehicle, which means that it was already taken care of, and or this specific serial number on this '07 didn't fall in the recall. But so anyway, I'm not able to sleep. I'm trying to figure this out, and I go ahead and I open up the access door to get into the cooling battery compartment to check the filter, and this is what I got. And this is how bad this is. So if you have a hybrid, I'm telling you, man, believe it or not, and this is what I think. I'm going to tell you my 2 cents. People don't clean these filters, right? Or they don't change them. And then what you're doing is you're overcycling your battery at higher temperatures, and these batteries have to be at about 90 degrees or they shut down. The computer shuts it down so the battery doesn't overheat, short out, blow up. So if you got a plugged filter, this is what's drawing air into the cabin, right? Look at this nasty stuff. And so it draws, and if you have a pet, that makes it worse, because your dog's in the back of the vehicle and sucking dog hair and God knows what else up into this thing, right? So you have to change these, but it's a cascading effect. So here's my take on it. People don't change the filters. The filters clog. The cooling fans run longer to try and cool down the battery. That cycles the battery more, which wears the battery's performance down. It doesn't wreck the batteries. It just drops the performance of the battery down. And it overruns the fan, and it overruns the cooling pump. So the whole problem, in my opinion, and the cooling pump issues and the fans wearing out is really, maybe it was just a bad design in those parts, but I think this is the main thing, right? Go figure, right? You think they would be smart enough to put a vacuum gauge on the back side of this filter so that you'd get an alert on the dashboard saying clean filter for battery compartment, And you think they'd put a temperature gauge on the battery, which I'm going to do. Definitely putting a temperature gauge in that battery, running it up into the front of the dash, so I know where that battery temperature is going to be running all the time. So that would be a good way to solve this. So if you got a battery running above 90 degrees, of course that's dependent a little bit on your ambient temperatures and stuff like that, but the batteries are not supposed to, from what I've read, go above 90 degrees, or the car will go into gas mode only, okay? So if this solves my problem, I'm not getting any codes, but I think that's what's going on. So just a heads up for you people with hybrids, change your stinking filter on your battery compartment. Hopefully this helps somebody out, save some little money. Oh, it wouldn't hurt to take your fans out for your battery compartment and clean the squirrel cage fans in there. They get dust and dirt on them, makes them less efficient. All right, over and out.